Trump ruined oldest Arab relationship over Hormuz strategy? Fresh details fuel questions over US-Saudi ties. Riyadh refused to be part of Washington's military push, triggering a major strategic rift? As MBS shut the door on Trump's Hormuz plan, Washington reportedly explored other regional options. Tehran's Gulf vision gains momentum as cracks widen in the long-standing US-Saudi partnership. Donald Trump's Hormuz push triggered a sharp rift with Saudi Arabia, according to a Wall Street Journal report. The Wall Street Journal reported that Saudi Arabia rejected the Trump administration's first major effort to reopen the Strait of Hormuz during the recent regional crisis. According to the report, the Saudi decision has deepened diplomatic differences between Washington and Riyadh at a time of heightened tensions with Iran. The report also said Saudi Arabia suspended U.S. access to key military bases and airspace for operations directed against Iran. That reported decision is said to have complicated American military planning during one of the most tense phases of the confrontation with Tehran. Amid the growing disagreement, the Wall Street Journal reported that President Trump threatened to limit supplies of missile interceptors to Saudi Arabia. The report noted that those interceptor systems form a critical part of the kingdom's air defense network against potential Iranian missile attacks. It further added that Washington is also weighing a reduction of its military footprint inside Saudi Arabia as part of a broader regional review. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio notably did not include Riyadh during his latest tour of the Middle East, drawing attention from regional observers. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman also skipped the recent G7 summit as the crisis involving Iran continued to unfold. Taken together, the developments have fueled fresh questions about the current trajectory of the long-standing strategic partnership between the United States and Saudi Arabia. Analysts say any sustained disagreement between Washington and Riyadh could complicate American efforts to manage security and deterrence across the Gulf region. The reported rift also comes as Iran continues promoting a new Gulf security architecture that would exclude the United States and other outside military powers. Iran has called for a new Gulf security order that excludes the United States and all other outside military powers from the region. Iranian Foreign Minister said Tehran is ready to help establish a new regional security framework led by countries within the Gulf. Araghchi said recent wars had demonstrated it was time for Gulf nations to take responsibility for safeguarding their own security. Araghchi made the remarks after holding talks with Iraq's national security advisor, according to Iran International. The foreign minister said the proposed regional framework should also promote broader economic cooperation among neighboring countries. Araghchi argued that lasting regional stability could only be achieved through closer coordination and cooperation among Gulf states. He said military powers from outside the region should have no role in shaping the proposed future Gulf security architecture. Tehran presented the proposal as a lesson drawn from the region's recent security crises and repeated military confrontations. IRGC-affiliated FARS said a commentary discussing nuclear weapons did not represent the agency's official editorial position or policy. The agency said the article appeared in its user-generated content section and should not be interpreted as an official FARS position. The clarification came after the commentary claimed Iran had no alternative but to obtain a nuclear weapon for deterrence. The article argued nuclear deterrence was the only effective way to eliminate the military option against Iran. The commentary also claimed a nuclear weapon could help keep any future conflict with the US and Israel under control. The article surfaced as the United States and Iran continued exchanging military strikes amid tensions over the Strait of Hormuz. Subsequently, the Wall Street Journal reported US-Iran talks in Switzerland had stalled as hostilities between both sides intensified. However, Reuters reported the United States and Iran would continue negotiations as both sides sought to preserve the interim memorandum of understanding. A U.S. official told Reuters the technical discussions would address every major provision contained in the interim memorandum of understanding. The official said commercial shipping would continue moving freely through the Strait of Hormuz while negotiations remained underway. Axios, citing U.S. officials, also reported Washington and Tehran had agreed to halt hostilities while diplomatic efforts continued. The report said both sides were expected to meet in Doha later this week to address their dispute over the Strait of Hormuz. The diplomatic push came after an Iranian official said the planned June 28 talks had been abandoned following recent US strikes. Tehran said the conditions outlined in the interim memorandum of understanding had not been fully implemented before any fresh negotiations.
Well, the president's patience isn't going to last forever. Discussions are ongoing, particularly at a technical level of how to get inspectors in, the downblending, and the other pieces that are focused on ensuring Iran never has a nuclear weapon. But they need to understand their leverage is diminishing by the day. The Gulf Arabs are creating all kinds of alternatives to the Straits of Hormuz. The UAE is moving oil through its pipeline that it's expanding. The Saudi Arabia is moving oil through its pipeline that it's expanding. We will create alternatives to our basing posture there. We will harden some may go underground, others will move. So this leverage that Iran thinks it has now is diminishing faster and faster, literally every week as we speak. And meanwhile, that this is in violation of international law. Even the Chinese government has said you cannot be taking tolls or fees. Iran was apparently relying on Oman across the waterway to help it set up this new infrastructure. And now Oman, just yesterday, has rejected the idea of tolls or fees. So they're completely isolated here. President Trump's not going to stand for it. And meanwhile, we continue to move ships out by the dozens every day. And world oil prices are not just stable, they're dropping. So Iran's attempt to hold the world hostage and their economies hostage are completely failing. So Iran, as Secretary Rubio just said, Iran has a choice to make. It's going to be a responsible nation, or it can continue down this path to absolute ruin. And don't think for a second that President Trump isn't going to leave every option on the table to achieve not just our aim, the entire world's aim, that Iran never has a nuke.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that Rubio will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.